RFID, it's kind of a niche. Now, there's lots of people who get a Flipper Zero and say, I have RFID. But the Flipper Zero is a multi-tool, and it doesn't do everything great. And obviously, that's why we have specifically designed tools that just do RFID. Now, if you're like, what is RFID, Ilya? Well, we're going to go into that, along with the newest RFID device in my collection. And without further ado, let's just get into the video. Now, this product is the Chameleon Ultra, but not this one. It's the Chameleon Ultra Dev Kit, which I got sent to me by Lab401. So check them out, and if you want to pick one of these up yourself, you could use the code ILYA. So when you're down here hitting the subscribe button, you could read the name of the channel, ILYA, and use that for a percentage off your Lab401 orders. Now, there's more than just the Chameleon Ultra. We also have the Chameleon Lite, for example. And when no one getting the Chameleon Lite, it can't read, write, and emulate only. I did, this was one of my first devices, and I did not know that when I got it. It just looks so sick, but can't read. Now, like I said, here is the Chameleon Ultra Dev Kit. And there's a bunch of differences, but first, let's go back to past Ilya, unbox this thing, and let me explain to you what RFID is. Now, RFID stands for Radio Frequency Identification, and it's going to be when you have, like, a lock of sorts. Now, RFID is like a brother to NFC, and mostly the same. And NFC is used in, like, your credit cards, on, like, the chips in your dogs. RFID is going to be what you're using for locks, and it's going to be on a different frequency than NFC. But here we have our lock, and here we have the key. Now, how this works is, you've probably seen this at any secure building. They will come over, hold it up, and then the lock will go in. And then you come back, put it back on, and it comes back out. Now, that's the basics of RFID. Now, there's different ways to manipulate it, write it, read it, and use it for your own benefit. Of course, this is just for educational purposes, and I mean, I'm not, I gave myself permission, and I'm not responsible for anything else. So, without further ado, let's unbox it. As I said, the Chameleon Ultra Dev Kit is different than the regular Chameleon Ultra, and not just in size. There's a specific reason why it's called the Dev Kit. Now, opening up this pretty gold box and removing the foam, we have our Chameleon Ultra Dev Kit. And it is just a beautiful device. And I love seeing it out in the open and not covered in epoxy like the Chameleon Ultra standard. And then we have a USB-C to USB-A cable, but also a USB-C to USB-C cable. I love how Chameleon always does that with their device chargers. And it is also a data cable. And then we have 3 ICS cards and 1 blank card, HID. Now, these are useful because you can write cards to these. So, for example, I have my lock, and here's the key. Now, if I wanted to read this and put it on a new key, then I would have my own key to the building, for example. But let's look at the Chameleon Ultra Dev Kit itself and the differences between both of them. Now, starting off with it is the first thing you're going to notice, size. And you may be saying, Ilya, why is there such a different size difference? And it's because they're for different things. Now, this one is the size of not even the full antenna reader. So, there's that. But they use the same chip to read and write. You notice on the back of this one, we have these buttons, which control the LEDs. And it is about the same with the Chameleon Ultra Dev Kit. We have the buttons and the LEDs at the top to choose what card we want to hop to read, write, and emulate, which we're going to program on here with the Chameleon Ultra app in a minute. Now, it also charges with USB-C, as it has a very slim battery here on the back, and it doesn't take up too much room, and I'd like to say it's pretty small. We can see that antenna again, but we can also see these ports. Now, this is for developers. It's not just for people who want to get into RFID, like the normal Chameleon Ultra, because this has GPIO. You have our ground, our CYD, our VCC, and this is going to allow us to customize it and mod it ourselves. Now, that is just one of the very cool features of the Chameleon Ultra Dev Kit. It teaches you a lot about RFID. I mean, even here, it's all labeled. So we could see our MCU, we could see our BLE antenna, which is this guy right here, and then our LF for low frequency. This goes high frequency to low frequency antenna with a 13.65 to 125K prox grind. Now, let's hop on the app, and I'll show you how to set this up for the first time. Now, if we hop onto the CUGUI app, which is the Chameleon Ultra GUI app. So, if we go on here, we could hit the refresh button, and our Chameleon Ultra is going to pop up. Now, we could just connect to this guy, and it's going to be connected. Now, outdated protocol in firmware. Now, we're going to want to update this device. Now, when updating, you're going to want to plug into the device itself, as over Bluetooth, if it gets disconnected, then you can brick your device, possibly. Now, nobody wants a brick device, and everybody just buys this because they want one. Now, going over BLE, if you don't have a dead phone and you don't have a dead device, you should be good. But let's get this flash real quick. Now that we're connected, it's just going to show up as Chameleon Ultra, because it's basically what it is. So we could come over here and we have our home. Now we can see our slots. We can change our settings on it. So the A button is forward, B button backwards, and long press could be clone or something. So I'll just set it so the A button, which is labeled big over here. So A could be clone and B could be forward. And we'll have long press is charge and long press for that is disable. Now, we can enter DFU mode, we could flash custom firmware, or we could just flash the latest firmware. And I haven't seen much custom firmware, so I'd say we're pretty much good there. Now, as you can see, when we hit our A button now, as I have had it configured, and I'll just go ahead and unplug this. When I hit the A button, we're going to see this flashing light. That means it's going to read. So, we don't need a phone to do this, but it does help a lot. So, that's indeed what I'm about to do. So, we have our card here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold this on the antenna, and we could go onto our device. And on the phone, we could just hit read. No card found, read. And because it is an LF for RFID, it's going to pop up. So we could read it, and we could do a continuous scan, and then we could save that card. So we could just save this as door. Or if you want to just do it on the device itself, we could just hit the A button. And when there's no card around, we're going to see the red lights. And when there is a card around, we're going to see these beautiful green lights, meaning it read the card. And now, all we have to do is assign it to a port. So, if we go to... Oh, did it disconnect? Our slot manager, then we could come down to slot 4, for example, put door and assign it to it. And now if we go to, for example, slot, so we have all the different slots, and slot 4, then if we get our lock, we can emulate it. Sweet! Now, that is just a basic of how you do this. There's a bunch of great platforms to practice Chameleon Ultra and RFID on. This is a good device for beginners, and also a good device for people who want to tinker. Like I said, it has those GPIO ports for expandability. They want you to add onto this device, and that's why they made it so easy to do so. With the Chameleon Ultra Basic, I mean, everything's covered in epoxy, and there's no way you're doing anything to this guy. The only thing you could do is maybe the custom antenna mod, which, like I said, I have at Arc Labs. But if you like any RFID tech, this is a cool device. And I know there's Proxmarks and all these other devices which people suggest so highly, but I mean, this is just a good device, especially if you're getting into RFID tech. I'd say it's a good start. And if you don't want something as sneaky as a Chameleon Ultra, maybe you don't need to be, this guy's perfect just to fit right in your wallet or pocket-sized. And I'd say that's pretty much it for this video. Make sure to like and subscribe. And I will say, for those of you who stay to the end, I have some news on the giveaway. Now, if you want the chance to win Meshnology N32, comment down below ArchNode, ARCHNODE. Now, this is only for the US, but for those people outside of the US, I have ArchTrace, which is going to give you a free zero-trace firmware, ARCHTRACE. You can enter in both if you want, but not if you're out of country. You can't get into the Meshnology one. And it wouldn't do you much good anyways, as if you had the device, you don't even use those frequencies in other countries. And it's really just what we use here in the US for Meshtastic. But comment down below if you want your name. We're picking the winners on February 13th and 3 p.m. MST, and I hope to see you guys there. You have to be in the live when we're doing it to win. And until next time. Forgot to mention, check out the store. I have a bunch of cool stuff there, Arch Labs. And if you want to check out the merch, link in the description. And until next time, guys.